Hello from the other side. I must have called 1,000. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I didn't see you come in here. I was just having a little bit of a delve with my friends, the Woodland Creatures, as I like to do. Anyway, I'm Brady from Serious Creatures, and today, since I'm hanging out with my friends here, we might as well draw some woodland creatures. Come and join me in my magic computer, and we'll have some fun, hopefully.
Okay, well, welcome to Inside My Magic Computer, and today we're going to be talking about woodland creatures. I was walking through a forest the other day, a magical forest that is near my house, and I know you might be thinking, Brady, shenanigans, there's no such thing as a magic forest, and I said, indeed there is, and it's next to my house. And I was walking in the magic forest, and I saw these little creatures scurrying about, just having scurry, and I thought, I think I would like to draw one of those things. And then as I was drawing one of those things, I thought to myself, I want to teach you guys how to draw one of those things. So I thought today we would do some woodland creatures drawing. Hooray. So the important thing with woodland creature drawing or any kind of creature drawing is, as always, the fundamental shapes. Remember from the last time, or the very first video, that everything is involved, or everything is made up of three shapes. A circle, some kind of rectangle, and triangles. And then you can put those together and have rocket shapes. You know, this is like a rectangle and a triangle, or important shapes like a cone. This is like a round shape plus a triangle, things like that. So, but everything is made up of these three fundamental shapes. But whenever you're thinking about trying to draw some of these creatures, I want you to think about their body parts. I know that sounds strange. And what are the most important body parts? And usually you would say, hey man, all the body parts are important, because if you don't have all the body parts, you're going to die. Like, I don't think, lungs are that important. And so, you know what? It's super tough to breathe without lungs. Anyway, the important body parts I'm talking about here are ones like this. For example, looky here. I made for you an animal. And you go, dude, this is not an animal. And I say, it is. And you say, no, maybe this is just a very stingy cookie. And I say, no, it is an animal. And you go, what kind of animal is it? I go, well, look, it's got eyes. Well, all animals have eyes, mostly, except for like the cave animals. And then you go, well, and it's got a nose. And you're like, well, still, I have no idea what kind of animal this is. But if I just add a little triangle nose, triangle ears, and then this little mouth, kablam. Easily, we all know this is some sort of cat. And the deal is that I just drew a circle. But the important things were triangle ears, excuse me for that little mistake, triangle nose, and this little mouth thing, and some whiskers, and ta-da, you have a cat. You can even draw something that looks nothing like a cat, a big square, and still make it look like a cat if you go triangle ear, eyes, triangle nose, whiskers. Yeah, you still think you're like, well, that's an unfortunate looking cat. However, it is still very cat-like. And so the thing that makes it cat-like are these important body parts. So if you're a cat, what makes you you? What makes you a cat? So we'll look at that a little bit with some of these animals, because that's important for drawing them. All right, here we go. Check it out. Birds. What makes a bird a bird? So this bird here, it wants to be a super cute little bird. And the thing about birds, well, there's many different kinds of birds for sure, but I'm thinking about little cute little woodland birds. And so the thing that these guys have are these kind of like little bitty beaks, and they're pretty sharp and kind of small triangle beaks. And then the rest of the bird is kind of like a circle. And then you have some triangle wings, triangle tail, and little bitty feet. So if you drew more or less anything that was pretty round, triangle beak, little feet, little yincy feet, eye, and some triangle wings, and a tail, you're pretty much going to get a bird. Like, I don't know what the kind of bird that is. The bird maybe is like a golf ball bird, very rare, found mostly in suburbs. But this looks kind of like a bird. But so anyway, so those are kind of like the important parts. So you can kind of experiment with that and whatnot and find out, oh yeah, that's my favorite way to draw a bird. But what let's try to draw this bird. So remember, everything is made up of these shapes. So we've got circle here. We have another circle here for his head. He doesn't really have much of a neck. Triangle on its for its beak. Circle here. Triangle for the wings. So let's see what we've got. Let's try to do this guy. So we're gonna have a circle, another more or less circle. His eyes. His eye is usually right across from his beak. So we're gonna go here. Draw this little beak. Then he's got some triangle-ish wings, good for flying. Then he has a tail and some little feet. So now let's see. Remember, the most important part of our drawing is drawing with these shapes. Always have these shapes, and then we go back and erase. So this guy, he kind of looks like the hunchback of birds. And so really what actually he wants is he wants a bigger belly because he's a big belly bird. And so let's go back and correct that a little bit. He wants a bigger, now he looks much more fluffy. He only has one leg, so it's kind of flamingo-y kind of scene. Now we've got this. He's got his eye. Ta-da. Very much birdish kind of bird. Yeah, so, you can mess around with trying to figure out what kind of wings you can make, big wings or small wings. Or his tail could be all kind of different shapes. But so once we kind of have a bird-ish shape here, then we have the base of what we want to do. So now let's make it fun and to think maybe, what's this bird got going on? You're like, well, I think this bird maybe he's carrying a giant bologna log because birds secretly love giant bologna logs. More so, well, they love birdseed. They love berries and bologna logs. As you may have guessed, birds love everything that starts with B. And I can't actually spell bologna, so we're just going to say B. This is a giant bee log. Okay, so he's got this bologna log. But where's he going? Well, you know what? He's outside because it's kind of cold out. So he's got to have cool little, like, scarf sweatery thing. Looky there. Is increasing his cuteness by like 3.5. And then he's going to have, oh my goodness, he's going to have little earmuff jobbers. With these earmuffs, his cuteness is increased to 5.7. And if we give him some sort of Ugg boots, which if you don't know what Ugg boots are, you can go ask your mom or your big older sister, because I don't think they're cool. I don't know, maybe they're still cool. We're not sure. They're very contentious in their coolness. But this bird is like, I'm going to rock some Ugg boots. Now you have a legit bird who's going to a party, bringing his bologna log, and he's got his cuteness dialed up to, with the Ugg boots, it's tough. This might be a 10. This might be a 10 cute bird. Yeah, so, but this bird could be any shape because it is got all of its bird components. Let's look at the next one. Raccoon. So let's look at a raccoon. A raccoon clearly has black around his eyes, and he has a ringed tail. So when we look at raccoons, you look at the first thing you notice is that raccoons have these really long tails with rings on them, black and white rings. And they have black around their eyes, like that, like so. And I'm sorry, what? What do you mean this isn't a raccoon? No, I'm sorry. This is clearly a raccoon. But I'm sorry, you're mistaken. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm the teacher here, so I'm gonna need you to just cool it. I'm being told this is not a raccoon, but look, he's got just all of these things. He's got the tail and the black around the eyes. No, actually, you're right. Oh my goodness, surprise face! It's not a raccoon. It is a ring-tailed lemur. Looky there, there's a raccoon, but also, so that's kind of an important point, is, just because you have those defining characteristics. That's not the only thing you need to make a raccoon. So if you look at a raccoon, important black around the eyes, for sure. Ring tail, for sure. What else makes a raccoon a raccoon? Look at him. He's got this real important kind of triangle-y nose, and he has little wingdings on the side of his face. I don't know why he has those wingdings there, but he does. And so, anyway, so you've got those things will make the raccoon raccoonish. So let's try and draw this raccoon with the rest of the shapes. So we have him. So we're gonna have kind of his head, a little circle, and then we're gonna have his little wingdings off the side, little triangles. So just triangle off the side. And then we're going to draw his nose, which is also another kind of triangle. His actual nose is a circle. And he's got his eyes. Right? Like we talked about eyes in the last episode, just to make some easy eyes. And he's got his bandit face things. Also, he has these really distinctive face markings. So he's got white on the side of his nose here and black down the middle. So if you give him this kind of thing, it gives him some more raccooniness. And he's got some round ears. And ta-da, you have something that looks something reminiscent of a raccoon. But what else does a raccoon need? For sure, he needs a body. So what does his body look like? You're like, well, it's kind of got a big round shape on his bahonkus here, and then kind of a roundy shape here, and with some triangle-y legs down here. So let's go. Let's see if we can draw this part here. We're gonna want his shoulder area, and then his bahonkus here. And we're gonna kind of connect these guys like that. And then we're gonna have his feet come out here with the triangles and come down and ta-da, feet. And then we've got triangles here down to feet. And then we have his nice tail, which is going to have its ringedness. Here, his head looks kind of small, doesn't it? And you know why that is because we drew the head first with all of its pieces before we drew the rest of the body. So what we should have done is drawn the body like this. Like here's his head, here's his shoulders, here's his bahonkus. And so that would have made it much more, just much easier to see. So I actually kind of led us astray, friends and family who are drawers. So I apologize. So then the head the head looks much more in scale. So this basically looks like his head got possibly dried in the dryer on high while the rest of his body was not. Or maybe, something stung, like a bee stung him here and he got all swelled up. So maybe that's what we'll say happened. But sometimes, as my friend and yours, Bob Ross, would say, is we didn't really make a mistake. We had a happy accident. So here we have a big-bodied raccoon with a small head. Well, or maybe it's a proper head and big body. So we're going to say he got stung by this bee. He's coming in here. Was like, I'm mad at you, raccoon. Why are you mad at me? Because you've been all up in my hive, stealing my stuff. And raccoon was like, oh man, it was just one time. And I didn't think you need all that honey. And he was like, I do need all that honey because how am I supposed to feed all my little bees? So anyway, I got this bee and he's coming in and he's like, I'm going to sting you on your back. And then there's another one that comes up and says, I'm going to do it too. And he's all like, meow. And he's coming in, he's stinging. But it's a bummer because, the raccoon has an allergic reaction to all these bees and he gets all swolled up like a sausage. And then he's all like, you better not turn me into like a raccoon sausage because that is not something I want to be a part of. But the bees were like, maybe I am. Maybe the bees were sent by a farmer off here in the distance. And his hunting technique was to let all the bees free to go hunt the allergic animals. And so maybe that's kind of a scene. Anyway, you can come up with a story as you wish. But this is an idea for drawing some raccoons. Let's look at one last one. Go away. Come back. Squirrels. Let's look at squirrels. So here we go. What is going to make a squirrel a squirrel? Well, one of the super important things for making a squirrel very squirreliness is this big, delightful S-shaped tail. Kind of looks like a question mark. And then his body is usually kind of like hunched over. So he's got like a nice little hunched body here. So we've got a circle here for his shoulders, circle here on his bahancas. Then he's got his legs, and then he has shoulder here of his arms, elbow, arms, hands. And he has his head here, which is a circle with, look at it, it has kind of a squarish kind of shape here. And he's got his eyes. Okay, so let's see if we can draw that. All right, here we go. We can draw his head. So he's got head shape here, and then he has his shoulders, and kind of this shoulder square. And then he has his bohancas up in here, right? And so we can kind of just connect all these guys like that, and then his face comes out in this shape here, which is kind of a rectangle-y kind of shape. And then he has his shoulders here, and his feet up in here. Okay, cool. Then we have a nice swoopy tail, and we don't want to just make his tail like that, because that's like zero fun. Let's make sure, and I talked about this in my other episode, and I'll put links in the show notes. You want to make sure that you want to make things not the same. So this is everything just kind of looks the same right there. But if you want to make it furry, you could go like this. But that's super boring because all of those squiggles are more or less the same. So what you want to do is you want to go, so look at this. This guy has like his fur goes like that. So let's go. And then we got more over here. Because he's super furry. And then that, and there you go. And you put some, those are all the same length. So you want to have some small ones in there. You want to have them up here, little ones. And so you really vary the, all of your hair pieces there. And you go back with your trusty eraser, because your eraser is your, like next to your pencil, your most important part of your drawing. So now look, he's got like much more of a swoopy tail. Okay, cool. Now let's go and say, like, squirrel's got big old honking eyes. And so he's got his eye here. And then he's got his ears, like so. A little nose. And, he's got a mouth. You can either make him have smiley mouth, like, hey, I'm a squirrel, I'm having a good time. Just me and my squirrel stuff, whatever it is I'm doing. Or I can be like angry and be like, oh, I'm such an angry squirrel. This is my mom's squirrels. My mom hates squirrels because the squirrels are always eating her bird feed. And so she hates the squirrels. And so she understands squirrels to be very angry and mischievous. But I'm going to say this squirrel is just going to be kind of like, I'm just kind of cool squirrel, just doing my thing. All right, so let's see. What do we got? So we have his hands. So let's connect these here. And then we have his feet. We're going to connect these guys. And then that's his foot. And he got a little bit of a squirrel belly because it's been a good year. All right, cool. So now let's go erase all these things and see what we have. If we need to make any adjustments, because you know what, it is nobody ever in the art world draws it right the first time. So that's really important for you to remember. So if you don't get it right the first time, that's good. You're in good company, because that means everybody does it like that. No one draws it right the first time. So don't be afraid to make mistakes or to have to redo it, because I have to redo stuff all the time. And it's not always my favorite thing to redo it, but it does always look better whenever I do it again. Okay, look, so this guy looks super like a little squirrel. So now, here he is. He's this squirrel doing his squirrel thing. And we think, what is, what's squirrel doing? And because if you just draw a squirrel, I'm like, well, I mean, that's like kind of fun, but for me, I always want squirrels to be doing like more fun things, so I've got this squirrel, like, what do you think he's doing? It's like, well, maybe he's riding like this awesome like speeder bike through the forest, and he's like, I'm just riding this squirrel speeder bike through the forest and so fast. And, because he's like, I'm being chased by the bad guys. And, and it's like, I'm riding a speeder bike and it's got this big old engine. And a big engine. But the engine's got to have fire. So remember, fire doesn't look like that. We want it to be variable, not the same. So you go, yeah, so that's what, even more. Yeah, that's a better fire. So that fire is like super different coming out here. And we got 2 of these mugs because we're like, I'm the fastest squirrel flying through the forest. And I'm just like, I'm just cruising. I don't know why. And I'm even chasing. Maybe I'm chasing like stormtroopers with my squirrel troopers. But I don't want any parents getting mad at me and saying, hey, look, you've got this squirrel here. You're inviting my kids to go do dangerous activities. Okay, fine. Here you go. You've got a helmet. So now the squirrel's got his little helmet. So he can be a very safe, exciting, danger squirrel cruising through the forest like, he's just zooming by and saving, whoever he needs saving because it's, it's a squirrel. And so you maybe the damsel squirrel in distress or the boy squirrel is in super trouble, his homie, and he's all like, homie, I'm coming to get you. Don't be afraid. And maybe his eyes are like, nah, I'm a serious squirrel. He's not just having fun. He's just like, I'm being serious because I'm flying so fast. And he's got a thing on here. He's all like, what's up? I'm Danger Squirrel. Okay, so here you go. And that's the important thing, is that you can draw some fun stuff. Make it look a little bit like the animal that you want to. And the best way to do that is to look for, get pictures of them, and then try to find what's the most squirrel-like thing. Tail, kind of a hunchy body, little ears, big eyes. And then have fun with it. So anyway, I am glad that you joined us, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks.